Welcome to the de-streamed math course. We are going to be approaching this course unit by unit. For each topic, you will find a video, a worksheet, answers to the worksheet, and you will have the ability to do some practice questions and ask for help if needed. As you work through the unit, as you complete each lesson, we'll be working towards a review and a test at the end of each unit. That test will be online, and there are multiple versions of that test. And it's set up so that once you've achieved a level 3 on that test, you'll be allowed to move on and start the next unit. As you can take the test as many times as you want. Each test will be slightly different than the previous one. And obviously, you can ask for help on questions that you're not getting correct until you're able to achieve a level 3 and move on to the next unit. So let's start our course with a discussion of number sense and numbers and where did they come from. And this is a really interesting theory that's out there. There's a lot of people who believe that this is true, and we don't really know if it's true or not. But a lot of people believe that the original number system was developed so that the numbers or the symbols that we used for the numbers themselves would tell us the value of that number simply by counting how many angles were part of that figure. And so if these were what the original numbers looked like way back when, and they've kind of morphed into the numbers that we use now, then that would make sense. Here's number 1, and there's only one angle. Number 2 looks more like a Z, and we've got 2 angles contained there. And then 3 has 3 angles, and so on. It gets really interesting when we get up to some of the higher numbers like 7, 8, and 9. 7, obviously these angles are there, but also 1, 2, 3, 4 around this line in the middle. And with 8, we have to take the interior angles, but also the 2 exterior angles. And with 9, we've got that fancy little tail so that we can actually count 9 angles in there. And of course for 0, 0 is the only one without any straight lines. So 0 doesn't have any angles, and that also represents the value of that number. So believe it or not, it's an interesting idea, and it may or may not be where our number system came from. Along the same lines of the origin of our numbers is how our numbers are sort of organized or grouped. Believe it or not, we have different categories of numbers, different types of numbers. The ones that we work with are these ones up here, the real numbers. And within the real number set, there's also 3 other kinds of numbers that make up that set. Rational numbers. Rational is just another word for fraction. Integer numbers are numbers that can be positive or negative. And the set of all natural numbers is just the set of counting numbers. And for that set, we don't include 0. So we would start counting at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. There's no negatives in that group either. The other group of numbers that you see down there, and it's kind of interesting to imagine or think about, a group of numbers that are imaginary, a group of numbers that aren't real. And there are such numbers, and those numbers became necessary when we were working on certain types of problems, and we had to be able to keep going to solve those problems. One of the examples that I'll give you for an imaginary number is the square root of a negative. You've probably all tried to put a square root of a negative in your calculator, and your calculator has said error. And the reason for that is that a square root means that there are 2 identical numbers that multiply together to give us the answer under the square root sign. So if I had the square root of 25, then 2 numbers that could multiply to make 25 would be 5 times 5. If I need to get a negative answer, though, then those two numbers would have to have different signs, and that's not possible. And so there's no real number that is an answer to the square root of -4. But we still need an answer so that we can keep working on certain types of problems. And so a brilliant mathematician many years ago said, imagine if there was an answer. And if there was an answer, let's call that number I for imaginary number. And so he let the square root of -1 equal I, and that produced a set of imaginary numbers that mathematicians work with at higher levels. All of the real numbers plus the imaginary numbers together are in one big group here. If you put a real number with an imaginary number, it makes it a complex number, and that's not something we have to worry about in grade 9 math, but it's nice to know for future courses. All right, so here's our set of integers, and integers are numbers that are negative or positive. And the only number that's negative, neither positive or negative, is the number 0. When we're working with integers, we have a few rules. What I like to do is think about integers, positive and negative numbers, as being on opposite teams. And so if I have 7 guys on the negative team, and then I have 15 guys on the positive team, who wins by how many? The positives have more guys, and they have a total of 8 more guys. And so in this case, the positives win by 8. For the second expression, I've got -8 and -25. So we started off with 8 guys on the negative team, and then they found 25 more negative guys to join them. So we just have lots more negative guys. Altogether, we have -33 guys. I don't know why I call it guys. Let's call it things. So in part C, we're now multiplying. And we have rules for multiplying integers. If the signs are the same when we're multiplying integers, so either 2 positives or 2 negatives, then we always get a positive answer. If the signs are different, we get a negative answer. So for part C, we can see that we have 2 different signs. Our answer will be negative. And then 4 times 6, hopefully you can do that using mental math. If you can't, use your calculator. 4 times 6 is 24. For part D, we have 2 of the same signs. We have 2 negatives. We know 2 of the same signs always make a positive answer. And 3 times 12 is 36. For question E, we're dividing. Dividing and multiplying always follow the same rules, just like adding and subtracting always follow the same rules. And so again, we're going to go back to the 2 sign rule. If they're the same, our answer will be positive. If they're different, our answer will be negative. And so for part E on this question, we have -27 divided by -3. That's going to give us a positive answer. And 27 divided by 3 is 9. 9 groups of 3 is 27. For our final question, we have a positive number, 108, being divided by a negative number. Those signs are different, so we'll have a negative answer. And 108 divides by 4, 27 times. You've probably all won some kind of contest like Roll Up the Rim or similar contest. I don't know if everybody's aware, but there is actually a law in Canada that you're not allowed to win a prize for nothing. You have to buy a ticket or do some kind of activity or skill in order to win a prize. And so the way that they get around that when they're doing these types of contests is they normally include what they call a skill testing question, and that question is usually a math question. And the way that they usually structure the math question is as a BEDMAS question. BEDMAS stands for brackets, exponents, divide and multiply, add and subtract. it's telling us the order that we have to do those operations in order to get the correct answer at the end. The D and the M, they're kind of equally important. So divide and multiply, we just hit those whenever they come up in the question. And then add and subtract, same thing. Whatever order they come up in the question, that's when we do them. Adding is no more important than subtracting. But brackets definitely are, exponents definitely are, and so we always want to start with those. So in this question, we have 25 minus 2 times the bracket. And we're going to do the bracket first, so 5 minus 3 is 2. It's really important to do these questions one step at a time. If you try to do it all together, that's when you can make a Bedmas error. And so now we're going to look for exponents. We don't have any exponents. So B is checked off, E is checked off. Now we're looking for any dividing or multiplying, and we're going to do that in the order in which we come across it in the question. And so the first thing we come across is multiplying. Negative 2 times 2, so that's negative 4. The next thing we come across is dividing, so we're going to do that next. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now we have just adding and subtracting left. They're always the last things we do when we're doing a problem like this. 25 minus 4 is 21, and then 21 plus 4 is 25. And that's how we handle a Bedmas question. So congratulations, believe it or not, you finished your first grade 9 math lesson. There are some checking your understanding questions in the workbook. When you've completed them, show all your steps and do them one step at a time to make sure that you're getting them correct. When you've completed them, you can check your answers in D2L. When you're satisfied that you understand how to do all of these types of problems, go ahead and move on to lesson 2.